buttercup, you're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall, won't stop till I get enough.
All right, so we're going deep today, way past those basic game stats. We're diving into Clemson's playoff loss to Texas. But, not just the what happened on the field, the score, all that. You already know the Tigers lost 38-24, but we're digging into the reactions, the aftermath. What do those tell us about where the team goes from here? Get ready, because this is going to be different than your usual post-game analysis.
Yeah, the amount of buzz this loss has generated is really something, particularly online on places like TigerNet and Twitter. Tons of thoughts pouring out from players, fans, everyone. It gives you a real, almost raw look into how Clemson folks are feeling.
Yeah, you can almost feel that disappointment, but also hope, right? I mean, some of those player tweets were really powerful. Peter Woods and Tamarian Parker both expressing gratitude towards Clemson. Parker even shared a photo of himself in his uniform. And then there's David Eziomom's tweet, short and sweet, times get better.
Yeah, 3 words, but they pack a punch. To me, that reflects the whole culture Dabo Swinney's built at Clemson. That sense of family, of looking ahead even when things are tough.
And R.J. Mickens, his tweet about the Clemson family being forever, that one really got to me.
Yeah, it's a reminder that the connections there go beyond just wins and losses.
Absolutely. And speaking of looking ahead, lots of people talking about Cade Klubnik and his performance. Even in a loss, he really shined.
No doubt about it. 336 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. And remember, that was against a Texas defense considered one of the nation's best. Think about this. No other quarterback all season threw for over 300 yards against Texas.
It's hard to believe this was his first playoff game, isn't it?
Right. And it wasn't just stats. You watch the film. He had the poise of a veteran.
So beyond the numbers, what is it about Klubnik that's got analysts so excited?
It's that it factor. The thing you see in quarterbacks who could become truly elite. He made the right reads, consistently threw with incredible accuracy. And when he needed to, he used his legs to extend plays. He didn't let the moment rattle him.
People have even compared him to Michael Penix Jr., the guy who led Washington to beat Texas in last year's semifinal.
Exactly. And Penix Jr. is a top prospect for the upcoming NFL draft.
Yeah.
So those comparisons, those mean something.
But here's the thing. Klubnik wasn't giving much away when asked about 2025. He's eligible for the draft, but he seemed focused on the emotions of that game, potentially his last one with the seniors.
Yeah, that's got everyone speculating, hasn't it? Is he leaning towards staying for another year or going pro? Adds a whole extra layer of intrigue to the offseason.
Keeps us all guessing. But even with how well Klubnik played, there was one big thing Clemson just couldn't get past in this game.
The run defense.
Yeah.
That was a weakness. And Texas took advantage of it, plain and simple. Their running backs, combined, ran for over 256 yards, scored 4 touchdowns.
And it wasn't just the yards, it was the way they got them. Like Texas was just imposing their will on Clemson's defense.
You had analysts like David Hood pointing out how Clemson's defenders, they seem to be tackling the ball, not the ball carrier. And that's a fundamental mistake that's tough to recover from.
Yeah, you could feel the frustration building as the game went on. Aaron Murray, former Georgia quarterback, he even tweeted, "Hard to believe Clemson is this bad against the run."
Not the Clemson defense we're used to seeing, that's for sure.
Even Nicole Auerbach said those run defense problems, they were kind of a microcosm of how the whole team played that day.
Like it all just kind of snowballed from there.
At least Darian Rencher, former Clemson running back, he found a bright side, tweeted that he was thankful they at least competed, didn't get spanked like some other playoff teams. Got to find the humor where you can, right?
Absolutely. Even in a loss, got to keep some perspective, maybe even laugh a little.
Okay, so yeah, run defense was an issue. But before we get too down on things, let's talk about some positives, some reasons to be optimistic.
Good point. Even in this loss, there are definitely things to be encouraged about.
So what are you seeing that gives you hope for the future of Clemson football?
Well, first off, the offense kept fighting, even without a healthy running back. They put up 24 points against that Texas defense. And remember, Texas was only giving up an average of 12.5 points a game all season. That's something you can't just ignore. To score that much against a defense like that, that says a lot about this Clemson team and what they could do.
Morgan Thomas tweeted about that. It really caught my eye. He said, putting up 24 points against that defense, a defense that was only allowing 12.5 points a game, that's a sign of good things to come.
I think he's right on the money with that. And you've got all these analysts already praising Klubnik. They see that potential. They believe he's got what it takes to lead Clemson back to the top.
It feels like, a turning point maybe, with Klubnik stepping into that leadership role.
Grayson Mann put it perfectly. He tweeted that this season, 2024 solidified Klubnik as one of the nation's top quarterbacks.
But this loss also brings up some bigger questions, doesn't it? About the ACC as a whole, I mean.
Yeah, you're right. This loss and the way Indiana and SMU got blown out in their playoff games, it's going to fuel that narrative that the ACC just isn't as strong as other conferences, the SEC in particular.
That debate never seems to go away, does it?
It's hard to shake that perception after results like this. But you have to look at the bigger picture. Clemson's been a dominant force in college football for over a decade.
Exactly. 7 college football playoff appearances, 2 national championships. That's not just luck.
Consistently at the top of their game year after year. Even in this loss to Texas, there were moments of brilliance. It's all about how you choose to look at it.
You're right. One game doesn't erase everything. Maybe this is a good time to zoom out even further. Think about what this loss means for college football overall.
Interesting. Yeah, what do you mean?
Well, this game and the other playoff games, they highlight how much things are changing in college football. New powerhouses emerging, traditional powers having to adapt, and a level of parity that makes it all so unpredictable.
And the 12-team playoff expansion, that's played a big part.
No more automatic bids for certain conferences. More teams have a shot to prove themselves.
It's made the sport more exciting, wouldn't you say?
More storylines, more upsets, more opportunities for teams to make a run.
This is a golden age for college football in a lot of ways.
But even with all the changes, one thing remains constant.
What's that?
The passion of the fans, you can't deny it. You saw that in the reactions to Clemson's loss. The emotion, the support. It shows how much this sport means to people.
It's more than just a game, that's for sure.
It's about community, tradition, shared experiences, the highs and the lows, the wins and losses. It's all part of it.
And that shared passion, that's what makes college football so special.
All right, so as we start to wrap up this deep dive, what's one big takeaway you hope our listeners walk away with today?
For me, it's that this loss, as tough as it is, it doesn't erase what Clemson has built. They've been one of the best programs in the country consistently. And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
I'm right there with you on that. Strong foundation, talented quarterback, coaching staff that knows how to win. Speaking of that coaching staff, what do you think Clemson needs to do in the offseason to get back on top? What are the big things they got to address?
Well, we've talked about it. The run defense is a huge problem. You just can't win championships if you're getting run over like that, like they did against Texas.
It was like every time Texas needed a big play, they just ran the ball right at Clemson, no problem.
Yeah, and it's not just personnel. It's the scheme, the coaching, the discipline. Dabo Swinney and his staff, they've been great at that in the past. So I have faith they'll figure it out.
And there's always the transfer portal, recruiting, right? Clemson always seems to reload with talent.
They're a program that attracts top players. And they've shown they're willing to use the transfer portal to fill gaps. Be interesting to see how they approach the defense in the offseason.
Let's go back to Cade Klubnik for a second. That performance, it was a revelation. He was throwing dimes all over the field.
And not just throwing to throw, making good decisions, reading the defense, putting the ball right where it needed to be.
And doing it all in his first playoff game under all that pressure.
You saw the poise, the leadership, that clutch factor, the thing that separates the great quarterbacks from the rest.
He made some plays with his legs when he had to. He's not just a pocket passer. He can make things happen.
Makes him even tougher to defend against, that's for sure.
But potential doesn't always equal results, right? Still work to do, challenges to overcome, people to prove wrong.
And that's the beauty of college football, isn't it?
Ups and downs, surprises, you never know what's going to happen.
You use a roller coaster, and you can't get off.
Keeps you coming back for more.
And for Clemson, even though this ride ended with a loss, it's just one chapter in a much bigger story.
A story that's not finished yet.
Exactly. And that's what I hope our listeners remember. This loss doesn't define Clemson's future. It's a bump in the road, a chance to learn, a chance to come back stronger.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, Clemson fans out there, keep those paws up. The future's bright. I think we'll be seeing them back in the playoffs soon.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's given you some insights, maybe sparked some conversations, and hey, maybe even inspired you to do some digging of your own.
That's what it's all about, right? Learning, exploring, engaging with the sport we love. So until next time, keep talking football, and as always, stay curious.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're Bobby doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.